Welcome to Sold with Webinars, a podcast that aims to uncover how the most successful experts, coaches, consultants, and e-course professionals sell their products and services with just one sales presentation or webinar. A simple sales webinar can transform the business and life of a solopreneur. And this podcast will show you how other experts just like you are generating 6 and 7 figures per year online with their webinars. So let's get started. Hey, it's Joel Irway here, and welcome to another episode of Sold with Webinars. Today, we had a very special guest, and we talked all about some specific new traffic sources as it relates to webinars. Now, David Schloss was one person that I had kept hearing his name over and over and over again in our industry, saying, guys and gals were telling me, you need to talk to David, you got to talk to David. And so when we hopped on our interview today, we discussed so many key tidbits when it comes to writing ads and the different methods of advertising and the different mediums and the different markets for advertising webinar placement ads for your webinar. So I really hope you enjoy this. I know you're going to enjoy this because we talked about everything from YouTube to Instagram to Facebook and what's working now, what's not working that worked in the past. And so if you're running paid advertising right now, make sure that you pay close attention to this interview because you're going to learn a lot of valuable tips and tricks to get you to run profitable advertising for your webinar campaigns. So without further ado, let's get into today's show. David, welcome to the podcast, man.
Appreciate it, Joel. Really happy to be here.
So I would love for you to kind of give yourself give my audience, give my listeners a brief introduction about who you are, what makes you so special, why have 10 people recommended me to talk to you, to interview you, and just do an introduction if you wouldn't mind for a couple minutes.
Sure. So, hey everyone. So basically the main thing is this. I started my agency back in 2007 from my college apartment with money that was supposed to fund my school education. I actually started my agency just because of a hunch, doing a little bit of a Google search and really just trying to find ways to make money to support myself. That was the beginning of me wanting to start something. And it was, at the time, I was doing SEO and video marketing because that was the thing. But 3 years of doing that for local businesses at a very young age, people did not quite trust me because the results would take time. It took a lot of money. It was just a very big hassle. And so 3 years of doing that, I decided to transition into paid advertising, specifically social ads. And Facebook was a baby. It was just getting started with their ad platform. So I jumped in very early on. It was like the wild, wild west. Everything was a penny a click, a penny a like. Everything was just amazing. And we took the agency from doing SEO and video marketing to strictly social ads. But I decided to spend all of my time on Facebook because it was the easiest to jump into. Now, I dabbled with YouTube. Instagram wasn't even a concept. Twitter didn't know what they were doing with their ad platform. So really, you just had to choose AdWords or Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I stuck with Facebook. And at first, it was just building niche pages, selling t-shirts, selling physical product, anything that I could sell. And I didn't feel comfortable in doing client work just yet. So we kept doing SEO and video marketing until one day Google decided to do such a massive update that all of my clients got hit. And that was the beginning of us shifting 100% into paid ads. It was probably another 2 years after the fact. And so since I would say about 2014, we've just gone all in. We've really just gone all in. We don't even talk about anything other than social ads or paid advertising. If someone says, hey, you do SEO, I'm like, nope, sorry, can't do it. We just decide to stick with what we know we're great at. And so Convert ROI was dawned from that essential concept of I want to be someone who caters to a local market, a national market, an international market as an agency, a service provider, but it's molded into now helping info publishers, real estate investors who want to bring their stuff online, or coaches and consultants who haven't quite figured out how to distribute their message online. They've called us or me to put that together for them in a social ad sort of standpoint and then deliver it to the world. And so we're catering to 40 clients at any given time. We're at 40 right now. I'm sure it'll be much more in the future. And we're spending almost 2 million a month on ads. And
Boom.
so massive, massive shifts in the last 10 years when it comes to running this agency.
So you've got 40 clients that are all in the info marketing space, info publishing space, correct?
Yes, they all sell something online, mostly digital.
How many of those are you running webinar ads for? Ballpark, not to be exact, but
somewhere between 20 and 25.
Wow. Okay, so over 50% are running webinar ads, and you're running $2 million a month. So let's just say ballpark, you're running $1 million a month in webinar ads, right?
Yes. Yep.
So let us in. So first of all, you specialize in webinar ads and high ticket funnel ads, and so we're going to talk a little bit about. I want to pick your brain on what makes a webinar ad different from any other different type of ad, and I want to know, like, what have you seen working with Facebook ads and social ads and YouTube ads? So let's start with Facebook ads, because that's the low hanging fruit, and then we'll kind of move into the other avenues.
Sure.
Let's say over the past 2 to 3 years, what have you seen? What worked in 2014 with webinar ads, and what is working today? What are you seeing as being the shift going with paid ads to a live webinar or an automated webinar?
So the obvious is that it's costing more, right? It's costing a lot more. And it's not just that when you deliver an ad, Facebook's automatically charging you 5 times what it was in the past. They're gauging bids now for your ads based on your engagement the minute it's delivered to the newsfeed. So if I send out an ad for a golf product, I want to show people on a webinar how they can revolutionize their golf game. It's actually an example I have. That ad has such a broad market that I can get engagement like that. It's practically instantaneous, right? Because it's such a large market. So I can get likes and comments and shares, and automatically my bid is going to decrease, and I can then get much cheaper clicks than, let's say, if I targeted someone who's following Russell Brunson. It's a very tight group of people. We know the type of customer he attracts or the type of person who follows him, but it's a finite group. Whereas with golf, it's 30 million people on the network. Compared to Russell, that might be 500,000. And so what we find is that we're having to create ads that are not clickbait style, but they almost force you to engage. And so we might create a bot campaign, to get people to comment in some shape or form. So we'll give away a freebie on top of them signing up. So we say, hey, if you comment below after you sign up for the webinar, we're going to send you a free PDF that's going to outline exactly what we're talking about on the webinar, right? So we're almost creating a half conversion campaign, half engagement campaign. Without the engagement, we can't lower the cost. And so we're having to write more long form, story-based engagement type of campaigns now. Whereas in the past, I could tell you, jump on this webinar or this free training or this free masterclass, whatever verbiage you want to use, and get the 7 steps to blowing up your business in the next 12 months, right? Very direct, straight to the point, no call to action. Here's the image. People knew to click it. There was never any other assumption. Now you have tons of options, and that's it. I would get the clicks that I want. Even if the clicks were $2, I would get conversions within 2 clicks, right? Because people knew you have to click this in order to get to the next page.
Awesome.
But now, you got bots, and you can click an ad and it opens up the messenger, and type this and do that. And there's all these new options now. Offer ads, canvas ads. None of that was here 3 years ago. So it's a little different.
That's awesome. So, and it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, it's a social platform. Everybody when you buy ads in the paid advertising world, you're buying space. And as a network, as a Facebook, they want to keep their customers on their website as long as possible. So they're going to charge you a premium if you're going to send them off the website. So now, I mean, I've seen some people who are creating entire quote unquote funnels inside of Facebook. So they never even have to leave Facebook. And so it's amazing. I mean, just to kind of comment on what you're saying with long form story ads and engagement, my high ticket funnel ad, I've only, I launched an ad back in January and I haven't touched it. It's a video of Russell's testimonial. And it's a long form ad, and I'm getting applications for $15 because
that's awesome.
It's just there's tons of engagement. I've never had so much more engagement, and it's a very niche audience. And like, I've just been so terrified to even touch it, like changing anything with it, because I know how finicky ads can be. But it just goes to your point that social is social, and it needs to be engaged. You can't, long gone are the days where you can just click, like you said, click here and register. Very cool.
Yep. Well, also consider this. You're stopping people in their tracks when you're delivering something to them in the news feed. And this goes for more than just Facebook. This could be Instagram. This is YouTube. You're in the business of interruption, but you're also in the business of creating conversation. So someone talks about this Rolex that they just saw online. They say how great it is. They post a picture on it, or they like or comment or share on it on the Rolex page. The minute that Rolex is aware of that, they're going to retarget you. We all know that that's the natural progression these days. If you've done something on my page, I'm going to follow you. But at the same time, when they do that, they know that they have to stop you in your tracks from a conversation you're having with another individual, or the search patterns that you're going through and scrolling through your feed and looking at local restaurants or talking to your mom or whatever it is. So they have to stop you in the middle of that action to then say, hey, we noticed you looked at this blank watch. Let us show you a little more. And it might be a video ad of someone just, demonstrating what the watch looks like and the mechanics behind it and all that. And now they're really just showing you that it's possible to buy this thing. It's all impulse, but I had to stop you in the middle of your conversation to get to that point.
Yep.
Whether it's a conversation or the middle of your search or whatever it is. And so with AdWords, for example, it's more of like, what are you searching for? Are you doing research? Are you looking, is there any sort of buyer intent, right? You could tell based off a keyword someone puts in whether or not they're looking to buy or to just research. With Facebook, it's interest, it's topics. There's tons of people in there looking to buy and plenty more just doing research or browsing. And so you have to almost change their frame of mind in order to get them to click and convert. And then that conversion could be get on my webinar, buy my product, whatever it is.
Interesting. One of the other things that I really wanted to pick your brain about is this. You talked about retargeting, right? Everyone does retargeting. What are you seeing right now with being the most effective way to advertise a webinar? Is it going first impression, going straight to a webinar registration, or do you want to have something before that to warm them up and then retarget them?
All right. So what I'm going to say may not be what most people are saying. I don't nurture anyone to jump on a webinar. If your message is aligned with the individual reading it, they will naturally click and apply or click and register. Okay. You can develop, and you know this because you've written a long form ad before. That long form ad is enough to convince someone to sign up for your webinar. You didn't have to write 20 blog posts or put up a bunch of posts on your fan page saying how great you are at what you do, or you don't have to do any of that. If your message hits home with that individual, the minute they see it, they're going to register. A lot of the clients that I run webinars for, their webinar ads, their fan pages are blank.
Yeah.
There's nothing on it. It's the worst engagement possible. But yet their ads are just working like gangbusters. Why is that? Their message aligns with the people we're targeting. And so we create those retargeting audiences from the clickers and the viewers and all those things. And then we'll start to deliver content to the people who haven't committed to the decision of jumping on the webinar.
Love it. I don't hear anyone talking about that, by the way. Normally they say do piece of content first, then retarget them or whatever. But you're saying if they don't take action first, then you deliver a piece of content. So it's almost like you're serving them both, the best of both worlds. It's like webinar, content, then webinar, and back and forth, right?
We're doing it in reverse. That's all it is. We're just, how they always say, do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Yeah. That's exactly what we're doing. And I feel that when the masses are hearing one way of doing it, that is your opportunity to go, let me try the other side to see what happens there. And I'm not going to call out anyone, not an individual or a company, but there are some very big publishers in our space that the minute they say something's working, everyone is doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, well, why are my bids costing more? Why is this interest no longer as popular as it was in the past? All it takes is one very large publisher to say, this doesn't work anymore. And all of a sudden, Yeah. Stop doing tripwires or go do a tripwire. And all of a sudden everyone has a tripwire, or they say tripwires don't work.
Hmm.
Right. So we're always paying attention to that, whether it's an individual with a large list or a website that gets millions of visits a month. And the minute we see them assert that you need to stop doing this or you need to go do that, that's when we start to notice the patterns. We see ads that all look the same. We see the same bot telling everyone to type in the word yes, right? We're
Hmm.
seeing the exact same thing.
Yep.
And so we try to tweak it so it's never identical to what everyone else is doing.
Very cool. I've always been a huge advocate for starting at the closest point of sale as possible. So like
Yeah.
we always did cold traffic to webinars and then going straight to the sale. And it seems like that's exactly what you do too. It's, no nurturing, give them the webinar ad if they don't want it. Okay, then give them another piece of content and try and get them back in.
Yep. Same thing through email.
Exactly. Yep. So what I have heard and what I have started to see is that like a while ago, I mean, actually not even that long ago, retargeting used to be super, 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 super cheap. So that's why people would nurture first and then retarget, because that retargeting audience was so effective. But we're now, for whatever reason, whatever Facebook's doing, now we're seeing that retargeting audience going 3, 4, 5, 10 times more expensive, which kind of stinks. But I mean, you have to roll with the punches, and again, that's why you go direct to the initial offer. So I love it, man.
Well, I'll throw this in really quick. Here's a little tidbit that we've used in order to improve our retargeting cost. Because like you said, it's going up exponentially, right? I remember 2 years ago, digital marketer was saying, hey, content first, all the time, content first. And then your retargeting ads will be 1/5 the cost of your straight to webinar or straight to lead magnet. And for a while, it worked. It still does if you have incredibly engaging content with a fan base already.
Yeah.
Key thing right there. What I do now is we create campaigns, mostly video, where we give away little nuggets of information. Let's just say a minute long video of one tip, one strategy, one tactic, whatever it is. And we'll build video audiences. And then we'll see which video got the most engagement. And let's just say 50% of the people watched, X amount. All right, cool. We notice that all these videos are getting a pretty high amount of people watching at least half the video. Let's combine all those people together. And now let's deliver the true retargeting ad to get them back onto the webinar or get them to register, because we've noticed they've watched all these videos at a very heavy rate, meaning they only had to watch 30 seconds. So if we're getting some decently engaged people, then we can create another ad, another video that's at least 30 seconds long because we know they're going to watch it. That's telling them why they need to be on the webinar. And by doing that, once again, all video, that's the key point here, is that it drives down your cost dramatically. Because you've already seen that they watch these videos. You know they watch a pretty much 30 seconds. And you have all these custom audiences that are set to people who've watched at least 50% of your other content. So the minute you deliver something where 90% of those people are watching your video, what does Facebook do? They drive down your cost dramatically because they see that your video is getting a ton of engagement.
Yep.
And now your cost per conversion on your webinar goes from, let's say the standard is $5 to $8. At least it is for a lot of my clients. It's somewhere between 5 and 8 is the norm. That retargeting ad's getting you $1, $2 registrations because you've factored out and filtered out all the people who obviously aren't interested in anything that you want to deliver. So you're making up for all that audience that you just spent money on. It's like, that's no problem. I just drove $1 a registrant through my retargeting back in and I feel better about myself. But you have to use video because that's where you can really build up these audiences rather quickly and reduce the cost that you would had, let's say, doing a traditional image ad or video straight to cold audience that's never seen you before.
Perfect, man. I love it. One of my clients, I've never seen anybody lower cost per leads than this one client, and it speaks to everything that you've talked about. Minus one caveat, but it is 100%, 99.9% focused on what you just said, and it's all about engagement. So, and I'll share it with everyone who's listening right now. What he did was he actually did a clickbait ad, but it got massive, massive engagement, and he bid for PPE, so which was page post engagement. So it was a catchy headline, an image of him with Tony Robbins, and I think the text post in the news feed was the exact same as the headline. Not that that matters, but he did bid per page post engagement. it sent them to a blog post article, and then the opt-in was for a webinar on that page. He was getting 50 cents to $1 auto webinar registrations, and like it was for an $8,000 offer. I mean, his ROI was bonkers. And so anyway, so we've tried to replicate that a couple of times. It was kind of, it was kind of the perfect storm because we haven't seen that work at all. But it's all about engagement. I mean, he got crazy engagement, and he bid for engagement, and he was getting insane conversions. So, but yeah.
And he had a recognizable face in the ad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's another thing. That's the authority positioning right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, you got to be careful with that, right? Because I can go take pictures with every possible person that I know is popular in different industries, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I want to be popular in real estate, I'm going to try to take a picture with one of the most popular people on HGTV or A&E with any of these house flipping shows or anything like that, and try to take a picture with them so I can use it in an ad. But here's the thing. The people that you take these pictures with, first off, make sure that they're okay with it. Because the minute you run that ad, you're officially on their radar.
Yep.
And number two, are you only attracting the people who are familiar with this person? What about the ones who don't know about Tony? I mean, he's probably not the best example, but the people who don't know Tony, they see this guy and they're like, I don't even know who he is. So automatically they completely misalign with you just because of the picture.
Yep.
And that's why when we create stuff, it's usually more neutral. Like we don't try to piggyback off someone else's fame. We try to create the fame with that person we're advertising.
100%.
So then when they're in a picture with someone else, they go, oh, I know that guy. But they're not talking about the person that he took a picture with, right? So we, once again, completely opposite what most people are doing. And yes, could it hurt you a little bit? Absolutely. If I took a picture with Tony Robbins, I'm sure I'd get tons of leads, but I don't, right? We keep it simple. We keep it to what's effective for us, and it just works.
Very cool, man. Love it. So let's transition real quick because you talked about video. Video is being very effective on building audiences inside of Facebook. Let's get off of Facebook for a little bit because I am completely virgin to this next network that you're going to be talking about. I never have run any sort of YouTube ads for webinars. So give me the down low with what I need to be focused on if I want to run any webinar ads with YouTube. What is different with YouTube and Facebook? And yeah, just give me the introduction.
So YouTube's an interesting beast because you could take the same video from Facebook, move it to YouTube, and get terrible results. Because the user or the viewer on YouTube is a different type of individual. They're used to watching longer form content. They're not bite-sized. They're watching 3-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute videos, and they're committed, right? It's not like Facebook where it's 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, and that's it. Like their attention span's gone. With YouTube, people tend to align more with a story. Great example, and I love this guy, Billy Jean.
Oh,
that
man.
guy turns his videos into a movie. I mean, that's what it feels like. He's recreating scenes from movies. He's doing things that captures your attention, but he's doing it in a story. So for example, if you're going to go, and he did this, go into a dealership. I'm going to go buy myself a car. Now it's not saying to be boastful or being like, look, I could buy a car. This is what I'm doing right now. This is in my life. This is my business. And because of my business, I've been able to go buy a car. So he's able to show this to the world, and the people that he's targeting, which I'm sure are a mixture of people who are subscribed to his channel, people who are similar. I'll get into that in a moment. Similar audiences, which are like lookalike audiences, or people he's targeting through topics or interests. They see this and they go, 1, who is this guy? 2, how did he get that car? And 3, what is he talking about in this business? What is this business? Right? That's an example from like a business opportunity, internet marketing standpoint. If you apply it to something like golf, with golf videos, if you're doing an ad, the ad has to be to the point. The first 10 seconds, which is as much time as you have to get their attention, you're saying, hey, in the next minute, I'm going to show you how I could drive this ball an extra 30 yards with just 2 simple techniques, but you have to stay on the video. If this isn't interesting to you, click skip. You tell them directly what they need to do. If they click skip, you don't get charged as long as they do it in the first 10 seconds. If they don't click skip and they keep watching, you get charged, but they stayed. So you see where you have to sort of, you're already at the pattern interrupt. You're showing up pre-roll or you're showing up as a banner in the search results. So you're already there as an interruption. But if you're in the pre-roll, which is what most people do, you have to tell them straight up, this is what you're going to get if you stay. If you don't want to stay, just click skip. And as soon as they skip, you're good. That's fine. That person's not interested. The ones who stay, now it's up to your video to get their attention, to captivate them, and tell them what they need to do. Now, here's another interesting fact. Let's say you're doing a webinar. This is probably the best example. You know how in some cases you have a desktop-related webinar registration page where it looks great on a laptop or a desktop, and then you have another one that's specific for mobile? The great thing about YouTubers are that there's a wide variety of people who do watch YouTube videos from a laptop or a desktop, but there's far more on a tablet or a phone. And what you'll find is that the way that these people register for things are completely different. It's two different platforms, right? It's two different types of setup. So a mobile optimized page through YouTube ads has to be short to the point, and everything has to be above the fold. You almost can't even explain what they're going to learn. It's a picture, a couple bullet points, and the field to fill in the details. Whereas if you're doing a desktop ad for YouTube, you can have a long form opt-in page like you would for many of the people we target on Facebook. It's different intent. They don't do things the same. And so what I'm finding is, yes, the views are cheap. Of course, they're incredibly cheap. The inventory is underutilized. There's not that many advertisers that know what they're doing when it comes to YouTube. But at the same time, they're not as click happy as Facebook. They will skip you more than anything. They will not click anything unless you are entertaining.
Entertaining is key on YouTube.
Entertainment is key. That's why Billie Jean he does these videos where he's just pure entertainment. Oh, by the way, I have a business too. Right? It's all entertainment first. Same thing with Alex Becker. All entertainment. Frank Kern, entertainment. Of course, they're all promoting their business, but it's all entertainment first. So once you're in, you're like, oh, I like this guy. Then they're going to go click something. So
interesting.
You have to grab their attention first.
So to recap quickly, what you were talking about with YouTube is, so the key things are the audience on YouTube, they're used to watching longer form content, which is critical. That is super, super critical, because if you think about it, you're on YouTube mostly because you want how to do something, or you're searching how to do something, or you're following Dude Perfect and you want to see what their latest video is, which is 6 to 8 minutes long. So like when you hop on YouTube, you're setting in a mindset of like, I'm sitting down to like watch a TV show. That's actually, I've never even thought about that before, like considering the different channels. Like I knew YouTube was different, but I hadn't thought about it too intently. But you know, it's like you're sitting down to watch your evening TV show or whatever. So that's very, very interesting.
I'll throw this in as well, because this is just another thing that people don't realize. When you start out with YouTube ads in the beginning, let's say your channel has 0 subscribers, you've just started posting content, you're like you said, you're a virgin to the network, right? So there's not much there for people to consume yet. In the beginning, it's going to be very disheartening. It's going to suck. People are going to go to your video, they're going to look at it, and then they're going to go to your channel and see you have 0 subscribers. It's going to hurt. But what you're doing is you're creating content that people are now viewing, because you know those videos that you post up on your channel that you then turn into an ad, that view count keeps going. It keeps growing. And let's not forget, just like Facebook, all the people who view your stuff, you could retarget them with a different video ad asking them to subscribe. So over time, you're going to build up this fan base. The bigger the fan base becomes, the easier your ads start to, it just becomes easier to perform, because now, Billie Jean has tens of thousands of people who are subscribers. Becker has 120,000 or 100,000 subscribers now. I'm sure when his channel was 5,000 people, it wasn't performing the same way as it is now. Because as that fan base grows, you look more knowledgeable, you look more as an expert, because the numbers back you up. The social proof is there. On Facebook, you can have a fan page with 10 likes and people will still buy from you because it's the content that they care about. Whatever, the page only has 10 likes. On YouTube, if you look like a nobody, they think you're a nobody and they just move on. So you have to build up. So yes, it will suck in the beginning. It will.
Got to play the long game.
It's all about the long game. And if people start to see that all these different videos have 10, 20, 50,000 views, and even if your channel only has 1,000 subscribers, they're looking at these videos and they're going, dang, this guy has a lot of views. So that's when they start to pay attention.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So the people who are on YouTube, bottom line is they're completely different than the people who are on Facebook.
Yep.
The way that they register for a webinar is going to be completely different. When you were talking about the registration page and you said that it was short, to the point, and above the fold, I found that to be effective even across Facebook. I don't change it for desktop or mobile. Now, I could be doing something wrong there, but we found very, very, very high conversion rates with just I did a JV webinar a couple of weeks ago. I had a 95% opt-in rate, which was all it is a headline and a button. That's it. And, and a sexy background, or a high definition background. And so, but they're already pre-sold. I do long form ads. The email that we sent out to their audience was long form. So I always like to pre-sell before they go to the opt-in page. So just my 2 cents there.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, okay. So we talked about, one last thing I wanted to ask about YouTube. What have you seen with the quality of traffic coming from YouTube versus, say, Facebook?
That's a tough one. And I say that because, I have some clients that, we dabble with their YouTube, but we're not focusing primarily on that network. So we sort of guide them along the way, and then they can take over. We have some really smart clients where they spend all their time working on YouTube while we're working on the Facebook, right? They're creating content, they're learning the platform, and so on and so forth. And what we find is that you can get some really, really cheap leads from YouTube, but that doesn't mean they're going to convert. Mm-hmm. Great example being, we had a client, a former client, where he was running YouTube ads basically at the same amount of money that we were running Facebook. So let's just say, for this example, we're both running $2,000 a day. We were running a lot more. So we would run $2,000 a day on Facebook, and he would run $2,000 on YouTube. The problem then became that he would look at our lead costs and go, "You guys are getting $5 a lead. I'm getting $1.50 over here." Okay, automatic. I'm like, all right, this guy's not digging in the data yet. Mm-hmm. Our $5 leads, because we were getting applications, we would only need 7 leads to get an application. So $35 an application, which is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
In a lot of spaces, it's like $100, $150, sometimes $200 an app. If you're getting 35, you're bankrolling, right? Especially if you have a great sales team. Now, you go to YouTube, he's getting $1.50 a lead, but what he didn't realize is that his applications were costing $60.
Yeah.
Right? So now when you look at the bigger picture, it's like, yes, your lead flow is dramatically better. You're getting basically 3 to 1 compared to us, but we're getting an application at a far quicker rate than the YouTube ad. Mm-hmm. But he was only looking at the surface level.
Yeah.
We were looking at the core. We were looking at the back end. And so when you put those two together, the numbers look phenomenal. But when you look at them separately, you have to look at your end goal.
Yep.
Is your end goal an application, a purchase of a product, trials? And even with trials, a $1 trial, it might cost you $4 to get a trial on Facebook and $1 on YouTube. But which of those trials converted most? The Facebook people or the YouTube people? So it takes you some time to get used to. Now, if you're very popular on YouTube, again, it's a lot easier to convert because these people trust you more. So if you're getting that $1.50 lead, $2 lead, you might find that the numbers might be 2 times better than Facebook. Mm-hmm. But that will take time. It doesn't just automatically happen the moment you start running ads on YouTube like it could on Facebook.
Right.
And so you just got to be aware of that on the data side when you're running your ads.
Well, you always have to look at, and that's like, I've dealt with a lot of people who, like, I would advise some of my clients on their Facebook and on their Facebook ads, like, well, I'm getting $4 leads here and $8 leads here. I'm like, well, you always have to measure for cost per acquisition. We've seen dramatically reduced numbers on certain ad sets and certain ads where it might be 3 times the cost per lead, but a third of the cost of customer acquisition, and they're just not looking because it's super dialed in for whatever reason to that specific audience, and it's converting to a sale, which is all that matters. But on the front end, of course, especially if it takes a little while to acquire that customer, it's important not to look at that short game. So I completely understand where you're coming from there.
Yeah, especially when it comes to purchases, right? It's if you're looking at it from like a course standpoint. Let's say the course is $1,000. I've had campaigns, honestly, where they all started out at $4 or $5 a registration, but it would take, let's just say, $200 of ad spend to acquire that purchase. And then I've created a separate campaign where those same registrations are costing $15, and yet we're getting a purchase for $60.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, the lead cost looks terrible, but we're getting purchases at a much better rate.
Yep.
I would prefer that over the overall lead flow. I'd rather have 1,000 people buy than 5,000 leads and only 100 people bought. Right. So it's really, what's your end goal? What's the end game? What are you trying to achieve? And then adjusting from there.
Amazing, man. So let's talk about the last channel before we wrap up. Let's talk about Instagram. We briefly mentioned it before we hopped on our interview today. So again, I know really nothing about Instagram aside it is bought and owned by Facebook. So what's different? What do I need to be aware of when I start to advertise to Instagram?
So Instagram is very much like Facebook in a sense where it's either image or video, right? And video, you have to keep your content to less than 30 seconds, I believe, or less than a minute, depending on what your objective is. If you're doing, let's say, like a Instagram story ad, it has to be less than 15 seconds. So just a different length of time. Now, they also look completely different in the newsfeed because on Instagram, there's no call to action. When you run an ad, there's a call to action. There's this nice blue strip that pops up and it says shop now, download, anything like that. Now, with Instagram, what we find is two types of ads work really, really well. And they're both video, but one's a slideshow video and the other one's more of like a live action demo. And of course, because it's an ad, they have that call to action to click. So we don't put a link in the description because they can't click it anyway. So we would make a video. Let's say for this example, we have a webinar right now that's getting $2.80 leads from Instagram. And they do buy because these are also Facebook users. Let's not forget that.
Yep.
That Instagram ad is a slideshow of customer results and testimonials. That's all it is. Susie jumped in our program and is now earning $3,000 a month. Joe started a site and is now making $15,000 a month. Now, of course, we blur out certain things because we want to be compliant, but it's more along the lines of showcasing results. And we've done the same thing with a video ad that's less than a minute, where we just take a mashup of customers that have said the success they've had with this individual. And we've done this in multiple markets. So we'll request that the client contacts their best students and ask them for a testimonial video of less than 30 seconds. And then we will either hire a video editor or they might have one, and we create a mashup video that's less than a minute of just people talking about how great you are. And that's all we have to do. And it works phenomenally well. Nothing else. We don't have to put the picture of the book or a picture of a report. It's here are the results. Do you want it? Yes or no? And those are the only ads that we run on Instagram. And they work phenomenally well. And those same ads you can use on Facebook.
So a mashup video. A mashup video is, explain what that is.
So let's say you have 5 of your best clients. In your case, 5 of your best clients leave you a testimonial video of the services you provide and the results they've obtained from your services. Take the best part of that testimonial, and it's usually the part where they say, Joel helped us make blank, right? It's always the part where they start to release the result. That's the part you're going to cut out from all these videos. And you want to make sure that they know, hey, can you please talk about the result that we've helped you achieve? Because that's going to be the part that you cut out. So all of a sudden you have 5 video testimonials, 5 clients, and 5 snippets that if you bundle them together might equal, about 20, let's just say each one's about 15 seconds a piece. You'll have to do a little bit of condensing to make sure that they can all fit. But the point is that you have multiple testimonials talking about your service and how great you are in a short period of time. And because it's multiple people, it's edifying who you are. It's very easy to get one, but not many people have 5, 10, 15, 20 testimonials. So when you do, that mashup video gets longer, but that'll be the one that you put up on Facebook. And then you could take the shorter one and put it up on Instagram. And all it does is edify what you do, who you are, and why you do what you do. And that's when people go, oh, I don't have to justify that this guy is good. It's proven. People are already saying he's great. And it's even better when they're well known. So like you have that Russell Brunson one. You have Russell Brunson and you got all these other people who are really top level, high level people. You don't have to do anything else. It's like you just keep running the same ad because it's the industry leader saying how great you are.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love it, man. I mean, it's, especially for service providers, I think with those types of ads, if you're running a webinar to help get more leads for your service, I mean, you're speaking to a hot market. It's like, you don't need to push them through tons and tons of content. So
Not at all.
I love it, man. Well, David, we talked about a ton of stuff today. Facebook, we talked about YouTube. I really want to get on YouTube. It's been a goal of mine for a long time, and it's just I've got other things that keep getting in the way. But I want to get on YouTube. I love Billy Jean's stuff. I mean, like for anyone listening right now, like just go subscribe to Billy Jean's YouTube channel, and you'll see the types of ads that he's playing. And I love his angle because you were talking about it before. He's entertaining, and so he's doing Wolf of Wall Street mock-up videos.
Yeah.
They call him the Wolf of Marketing. That's his latest video, but he is playing towards the entertaining aspect, and he's doing phenomenal with it.
Yep.
And Instagram, I haven't really done a whole lot with Instagram, but that's where, I mean, it's again, there's so many other avenues out there than just Facebook. Obviously, Facebook is king right now, but keeping to push with all the other channels. And I appreciate you sharing your knowledge, David. So let's wrap up right now. Where can people find you? Where can people reach out to you if they want you to run ads for them, if they want you to run ads for their business?
Sure. So you can hit me up directly through email, david@convertroi.com. If you want to have a discussion around any sort of advertising, or if you just want to connect on a consulting level, maybe I could just give you some insight on what you can do with your ads to improve them, or even just your funnel. I look at a lot of funnels, as I'm sure you do too, Joel. It's just we're looking at these things all day. And so if you want to look into that possibility of working with me, just email me directly. If you want to connect on a deeper level and get to know who I am as a person, follow me on Facebook. You can just go to facebook.com/SCHLOSSY. It's spelled Schlossy. It's what I'm called. It's my nickname. It's been that way since elementary school. And so if you want to find me, you can either type in my full name or you could type in my nickname. I will show up. Trust me. But those are the two places where I'm on most often: email, Facebook. Obviously, you could find me around the web elsewhere, but let's just stick with those two.
Awesome. David, I appreciate your time, man. I had a blast today. I know my audience grabbed a ton of value. You really did go in deep with different types of ad structure because, in my opinion, so we'll wrap up on one very critical question. I'm glad that I didn't forget about this. When writing an ad, what component of the ad, let's just stick with Facebook right now because that's most apparent. When writing a Facebook ad, which element, the copy, the image, or the headline, what's most important what do you look at first?
I personally look at the image first. And I find that a lot of the people that I run ads to are image-based clickers. Does the image captivate their attention? Now, let's say you take out the image, it's the video. It's the same thing, right? It's just that placement. My belief, and from my own testing, it's that the image or the video is what grabs your attention first. If the video doesn't do its job, or let's say it's not closed captioned, right? There's no transcription of the video, you will most likely go read the copy next, right? The headline is great. To me, it's supplemental because people are going to see it by default of looking at the image or the video. So the video is starting to play or the image appears, then they read the headline because it's in their face. So I don't think it's three levels. I just think it's the headline and the image or video are together. That's what they're going to see first. And then if that doesn't get them enough to click or move to the next step, they're going to go read the copy. So if you don't close caption your videos in this example, they will default go and read your ad copy because they're not going to open up the volume if they're on a bus, in a library, in a Starbucks without headphones. They're going to go read. So you have to keep that as something to be aware of. So for me, video and image come first. That's where I believe the majority of people start. And if that's not enough, then they'll go read your copy. And that's why you'll find your long form ads where people are like, wow, they start to engage on your comment thread and they're saying how great the ad is or how great you are. Those are the people who took the time to actually read. They may not have even watched your video because you'll notice two different forms of conversation going on.
Yep.
So video first, headline, let's just say it's second, ad copy would be third.
Awesome, man. Love it. David, thank you so much for hopping on to Sold Webinars today. Go check him out at convertroi.com. Connect with him on Facebook. Email him. This guy really does know what he's talking about. He's a kingpin in the industry. I'm not even exaggerating when I said there's 10 people who have recommended that I talked to David. So appreciate it, David, and we'll wrap up. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to giving you the next one.
You can also follow and watch the behind-the-scenes look at how I'm personally launching a brand new 6- and 7-figure product from scratch at soldwithwebinars.com/TV. And if you'd like to come hang out with other fellow experts, join our Facebook group at soldwithwebinars.com/experts. Join us next time, and I'll see you there.